Hello and welcome to the first edition of our SBL podcast. Today I am joined by Jacob Newman, our co-commissioner. We're going to be breaking down our main awards and some just who we think are the top 3 best players at certain specific skills. We're just going to have some fun here and hope you guys enjoy this. I know you guys are going to like to banter over this for the next couple of weeks, but we're going to run through our top 3 big men, and that category is a lot different than top 3 post defenders. What we're looking for from our big men are rebounding, set screens, and then chemistry is for all categories, of course. Yeah, maybe not shooting and whatever, but for big men, there's a lot more than just if you're tall, and yeah. Alright, so we're doing top 3 big men, we're doing top 3 low post defenders, top 3 perimeter defenders, top 3 shooters, top 3 ball handlers, and then of course, 5th man of the year, captain of the year, defensive player of the year, and MVP. So Newman, I forgot to ask, how you doing this morning?
Oh, I'm doing great. It's a beautiful Saturday morning here. I don't know, in Alberta at least, but yeah, just living life. Woke up this morning, had some breakfast, and just ready to go, man. I'm ready.
Yeah, and then tomorrow we got some pickups. Supposed to be like 55 tomorrow, so that'll be fun as well.
Yeah. If you're watching from the SBL, come to our pickup basketball at the Swan Rec Center at 1.
Yep. All right, Newman, let's kick it off. Top 3 big men. I'll give my first one. You give your first one, and then we'll just go from there. And we also got a surprise at the end of each one that we're excited to give for there. Alright, so my top 3 big men, my first one is Jacob Newman. I just think the way he can bond with his teammates, and he's a willing screen setter. Crucial. I mean, the best way to get open is by a screen. So if having somebody be willing to set those screens, and he works the post really well, and he's not there yet with the athleticism, but his rebounding is coming through, and I take a lot of pride in the screens.
Well, I might have a shocker for you. For my number 3 big man, I put Taylor Yates. Taylor, he is one of the largest guys on his team. And so he's going to have to play that center position, but I think he's going to play it really well. He can shoot the 3. He also has a great rebounding ability because he has great hops. You know, his vertical is pretty solid as well. And so I think that he'll complement his team of shooters very well. And so because of that, I think he'll be an amazing 5 or 4 slot. Technically, it's a 4 slot for the.
Oh, okay. So that was your number 3, right?
Yes.
All right, my mistake. I gave my number 1 first. That was my fault. You're right, though. So I'll just go in.
I feel like we should be doing 3 leading up to number 1, right?
Yeah. All right. So my number 3 is Case Ballard. He's like one of the tallest players in the league. He's running 6'4", 6'5". I'm surprised we got a lot of tall guys in this league, but Case Ballard, 6'4", 6'5". He's very physical. He's a farm boy, so he got that strength in the post, and he's going to be hard to handle. But yeah, he's my number 3. What about you? So you're moving on to your number 2.
Yeah. So my number 2 is Case. You kind of just took the words right out of my mouth, really. Really, just unbelievable size. Like for the SBL, great size. He's just going to be a huge brick wall and very scary. Like when I played against him, he was very daunting, and I can see many players getting off their rhythm if they rely on that drive to get their shooting going and get their pep in their step, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, my only concern with Case is sometimes his rotations are a bit slow, but yeah, he's a force. The guy is
right, but for an interior defense, I think he'll be ridiculously good.
Yeah, just deterring shots and, like you said, throwing people off the rhythm. But so for my number 2, I got Zach Hayer. He's on Team Dylan, the Milwaukee Bucks. I just think he's just another player in your category. He's going to be setting those screens. He's a big boy. He's going to be setting those big screens. You are not going to be able to move him in the post. And I think the only reason he's underused sometimes is he's very inconsistent on the offense and defensive end. But he is a big boy, and he's gonna be a tank down low.
Well, first off, thank you for putting me number one. But for my number one, I put Gabe Unwin. I think Gabe has an unbelievable skill set for the post, for shooting, for all around offense, and he's huge. That, like, not as large as Case, but his ability to finish the basketball might make it much more difficult for Case to defend something like this. I don't know why, but like Case Ballard is I feel like is the tallest player in the SPL. Yeah. So I always compare it to him. But so unbelievable offensive ability, and on the defense, he is a solid defensive player. He will be able to hold his own against any big man, I think, in the SPL. But because of that offensive skill and the ability to, even get people open, because he's going to be drawing those doubles, because he can finish in the post, absolutely number one big man for me.
Yeah, I'm just going to piggyback off of what you said, and he's my dark horse. That's our surprise. We're basically giving our top 4 players a dark horse who can maybe spring up through and give a good run for their money. It's more for the awards, the dark horses, but I thought it was a good little twist for the top 3. So who's your dark horse, and then we'll move on to our next category.
So my dark horse was actually me. I feel like I'm not gonna put up flashy stats. I know my role, right? You talked about how I know what I need to do. I'm gonna be setting those screens. I'm gonna be trying to facilitate and get people open. But maybe I will have a better year than I expect scoring, and maybe I'll have a chance. But likely, we're gonna calm ourselves down. I'm gonna calm myself down here. I'm not getting too ahead of myself. So.
Yep. All right. So, yeah, I think it's the basic 4. There's a clear top 3 big men in the league, and then there's the 4th one you can kind of give and go. But we're moving on to top 3 low post defenders. Let's try to run this along a little bit quicker. So my number 3 for post defenders is Unwin. I got Unwin there at number 3.
I had myself at number 3.
Yeah. I just think Unwin, he sometimes can get in his own head. He always tries to shot or block the shot, and I think that sometimes backfires on him. He's a little bit too jumpy, falls for them pump fakes and ball fakes quite a bit. But the one thing he does have is he's very quick on his feet. For being a big man, he can really move laterally. My number 2, do you have anything on it, Gabe, you want to express?
So my number 3 was myself. I think I'm someone who's not going to fall for those pump fakes. Really try to hold my own and stay my ground on those defenders and force them to take a difficult shot instead of giving them a freebie. But I'm a little slow.
Yeah. If
I'm going to talk about anything, I don't think I have the athleticism yet to really be against those faster, guards or whatever.
So my number 3 top low post defenders, or my second one, is Kalob Norris. He's gonna be playing their big alongside Nick Young, because Nick Young, he'll probably get subbed out quite a bit or whatever. But Nick Young's a quality defender too. I don't want to shut him down at all. But Kalob Norris, his shot blocking ability is quite impressive for his height. And last year I was able to see him take a ball out of the air, like the ball was in midair, and he sent that out into the out of bounds. Like, it was quite impressive. And I just think he's pretty strong. He's a football player, running back, so he's pretty strong in the leg region. Your number 2?
Okay. My 2 was Gabe Unwin. And I think it was for the same exact, kind of the same reasoning, but I think it was more on his athleticism as a big. I think his potential for rotations is the best out of any big man in the league. He can fly, and so and like you said, he also has the ability to get blocks. He can get a little, kind of a pogo stick, but that's real. I think personally that's good. I'm going to take the good or the bad with the good, if you will. And if he misses, he lets a layup go. That's going to be way better than the 3 blocks that he gets and ends those possessions without even having a basket really, attempted necessarily, because there's no way to get to the rim.
Right.
So, yeah.
So my number 1, I have Jacob Newman, just because I think IQ goes a long ways in being able to, communicate a little bit on the defensive end. But I'm not doing this just because you're your teammate. I do think that IQ and chemistry can really bring a lot to the table on the defensive end. Like, seriously. So, yeah, my number 1 is Newman.
My number 1 is Case Ballard. Case, for me, is just the all-around prototypical big center that you have to just stop, clog up the paint, really. He's just huge. Like, I can't even, it's indescribable to me. Like, he's just the monster in the paint that everyone is going to have to deal with. That's why I keep saying, when I refer to people, when I refer to, big guys in the offense, I'm always talking about how would they match up against Case Ballard, because I think Case Ballard is a huge threat to any team who's trying to drive or trying to work in the post.
So my dark horse is Case Ballard. He's top 4 big man in the league. It's that simple. Some things he's better at than others, and some things others are better at than he is. But I think it's a very close battle. It's very close between 1 through 3. I mean, the top 3, nobody's really better than anybody. It's just some people are better at others than others.
Right. It's based on the skill sets, really. But I think that with Case, because his just size might overwhelm some of the other pieces. Like, you're really going to have a good functioning offense to get him off his spot and force him into a situation where he's got to choose one way or the other to get that easy layup.
All right, let's move on to our next category, which is I think it's perimeter defenders. We're running at 13 minutes here. It's gonna be a good lengthy video.
Yeah.
Perimeter defenders. I'll just go. I'll say my 3rd and 2nd. You say your 3rd and 2nd. So my 3rd, I got Tristan Menard. It might be a little bit low for your standards, but I think there's some. I haven't played against Tristan in a while. He hasn't played in a while, so he might be out of shape once season starts. But I think he will hold his own and make a bump. He'll bump up once the season ends. But Tristan Menard's my 3. He's big guard, pretty fast, strong. And then I got Kalob Norris as my 2nd. When me and Caleb play pickup, that boy shuts me down. I never can get by Caleb, and I think of myself as one of the better ball handlers, drivers in the league. So, not to toot my own horn, but if you're going to shut me down, you're probably going to be a good defender in the league. And then your 3rd and 2nd.
So for my 3rd, I had Kalob Norris. He's I don't know how to describe him. He's just such a, I don't know, how would you describe him?
Well, he's not like a flashy defender. I mean, of course, he's the exact opposite of a laid-back personality. Like, he is going to let you know if you mess up or something, but he's very strong, right? He's very fast, so nothing's easy against Caleb. And if he blocks you, or if he takes the ball from you, you're gonna feel it. He's gonna let you know. Like, your morale, you're just gonna feel like poop. if you know, if you let Caleb get in your head and determine how you're gonna play in that game, you're gonna be in for a long night.
Absolutely. Okay. For my number 2, I put Tristan Menard.
Nice.
So yeah, he's kind of. I'm not going to spoil anything, but he is an all-around amazing player, and so that also attributes to his perimeter D. I think. What is he, 6'2" again? Oh my God!
No, I don't think he's that tall. I think he's like 5'11".
Okay. Well, anyway, it doesn't matter because I think he will lock you up anyway. He's in the military. I don't know what you're talking about with his. You might be out of shape. No, he ain't gonna be out of shape.
Yeah, I know.
He's gonna be coming at you.
Just have to come up with some excuses. All right, so
now,
go ahead.
Number 1?
My number 1. I think this one might be pretty clear as day, but I got Cam Dunsmore. That guy, I'm so glad Logan passed up on him. Logan was teasing me, saying he's gonna take Cam in the first round of the draft, but he didn't. He passed up on him, and he's missing out because Dunsmore is a special specimen made from a lab. Because that guy, he just got done running 48 miles in 48 hours. You can't beat that. Called? Yeah, I don't know. It's Don Gibbles. It's a Don Gamble's Chibbles. I don't know. It's a person, very athletic person, does crazy military stuff like that, and yeah, Cam takes those challenges up with ease, and he only had 6 hours of sleep in 48 hours. So that's my number 1 overall pick, ladies and gentlemen, Cam Dunsmore, and he is a lockdown defender.
Well, for my lockdown defender, I'm putting also Cam Dunsmore. Cam Dunsmore is ridiculous. You and I both played with and against him on Wednesday. And holy crap! I mean, the guy, he never slowed down. Like I never, I just.
And this
I'm speechless.
This is what I'm most impressed with Cam. He can take a team of, not so talented players, and he, just because of how aggressive he is on the defensive end, he's gonna shut down your number 1, and then he's gonna shut down your number 2 at the same exact time, just because he can coach and deter everything. Like, he's in the passing lanes, he's in the driving lanes, helping off ball. It's just,
and he's also willing too,
yeah,
which I think is impressive. Like you talked about that challenge he was doing and all the different military challenges that he's done. So he's willing to take on a challenge of anyone. He's not afraid, I guess is what I'm trying to express.
So my dark horse is myself. I think I'm a pretty good defender. I sometimes get a little handsy, but and I've been getting in the gym, so I'm being able to hold my own a little bit more on drives, and yeah, my legs are getting a little bit bigger, so I can. I think the quickness is there. It's just I've been lacking the strength all this time, and leading with my chest helps a lot. That's what I try to do. Anytime somebody drives, I'm leading with my chest. So your dark horse, and we'll move on to top 3 shooters.
So my dark horse is Cody Bushway. And it's kind of along the line. I mean, the problem is for me, I would put him on the list, but I haven't seen him play yet, so I really want a better idea. But he's friends with Tristan, and he's also in the military. So I think he would also have that same kind of athleticism, solid build where he's not going to let anyone just, flow past him like a river through the mountains. You know what I mean? Like he's gonna stop them. But of course I had to make him my dark horse because I wasn't exactly sure if he's going to be that impact player that we were talking about with maybe Dunsmore.
All right. So I am going to shout out Mitchell Budo. I don't know how to say his last name, but he's a really strong defender as well. So top 3 shooters, I got Logan Tobin as my 3rd. I think he can really he can catch fire, but there's also times where he's shooting 19% from 3 his junior year in high school. But he's really taken a next step since high school to...
Wow, did you really have to...
I did. I had to throw some shade at him. But he's really impressed me in the last couple of seasons. Even though it's just pickup ball, he's really able to... And he's taken like a couple steps back from 3. Like, he's not on the line. Like, he's back there. And then I got a 1A and I got a 1B for my top 2. I got Ethan Kreller as my number 2. I think, yeah. I mean, crazy. There was one time last summer he didn't play pickup for like a month. He comes to Swanton Rec after work and just lights us up for 6 threes and carries his team to a victory. He went like 6 for 7, and I was like, what the heck?
Okay, so my number 3 was also Logan Tobin. I think my worry is not necessarily that he's gets hot and cold, but rather like if he's really going to be that kind of, I don't know how to phrase this.
Just say it.
Like if he's going to, catch fire and then he's just going to be, pulling up and shooting a little too much.
So you're saying you don't want heat checks. Too many heat checks from Logan.
Right. I feel I don't know. Like maybe this is a bad example, but on Wednesday when we were playing, he just started for one of the games. He just started shooting threes, and I was like, well, if you're not taking my screens, what's the plan in the offense here? Of course, this is just pickup ball, so I shouldn't be basing this too much. But you also don't want to see those tendencies that might translate into, maybe a late game situation where the game's on the line and it's a 2-point game, right? And maybe he will pull up and not take that. You really want to hope that he has that same skill set. But as an overall shooter, yes, fantastic shooter. Okay. Number 2, I put Matt Duckowitz, the Duck. I think it's really a combination of his ball handling and shooting. Can create his get that open 3-point shot really in so many different ways. With the step back, doing it off the screen. I think he may not have the same range, I think, as Tobin, but he makes up for it unbelievably. And I think if he really worked in an offense, he would be really hard to stop.
Yeah, I like Duck's play, the way he plays. He's a great ball handler, facilitator. He's a willing passer. He wants to make that flashy play. And his shooting, I just think he hasn't played in a while. You used to be in the gym with him almost every day after school. But because he hasn't been able to do that lately, I think he's been lacking consistency. And I don't know. I don't think the consistency will be there early in the season. But I do think the quality of his shot will come around week 3, week 4.
I think too, really along the lines, a lot of guys are going to be, really coming back to basketball for the first, in a long time. And so I'm really kind of trying to, formulate it better into when they're in the shape that, that they're supposed to be in for a summer basketball league, which guys are going to stand out the most. So that's how I kind of look at it. Maybe not ready at the start of the season, but when we're in the playoff time, he might be that guy who takes those big shots for his team.
All right, so I think this goes to our number 1s now. Mine is Taylor Yates, BFA alum, former teammate of mine. He hit 9 threes in one game against MVU my senior year, so I'm not basing it off of that. The guy's a bucket. He's wet. Same thing with Kreller. 1A, 1B. It's kind of either or between those two. I just had to go with the hometown.
Okay. Now that you just said that, my number one is Ethan Kreller. So I left Yates off. Don't worry, he is my dark horse.
Yeah.
But here's my reasoning. Okay, I also know that I put Yates as one of my top big men. But let me explain. So Ethan Kreller, I don't know, I don't know if you play 2K, but he has Hall of Fame limitless range. Like that, I am scared once that man crosses half court, what he can do. There is no limit at all to where that man can shoot. So the thing with Taylor is I actually think he's a guy who can get really hot and cold, because I've seen him at times where in pickup games where he has missed like 4 or 5 in a row, and that's where you can kind of worry about how he's gonna work in the playoffs, because that's something that doesn't change with conditioning. You know, it might. I mean, it could, but in my opinion, he is more of a hot and cold player. But Ethan, I will guarantee he's knocking down.
Yeah, I agree that. I can't see Ethan missing 4 threes in a row, but I can see Taylor missing 4 threes in a row. Ethan will at least make 1 of 4 before he goes on a little streak like that. But I gotta stick with my standings. I still think, I mean, it's 1A, 1B. I mean, I think they're equal. I literally think that there's not one better than the other. But dark horse.
I will say Taylor does have that height advantage.
Mm-hmm.
But again, like I said, I don't know how he's. I worry sometimes that might be a problem that
sure
his team will face.
So your dark horse was Yates. Mine is Sean Humphrey. He's also on Team Dylan's team, I think. Or no, he's on Yates' team as well. So I think those two are be able to bounce off each other and play well in the inside-outside game, because Taylor can hold his own in the post as well. So I think those two are going to gel together well. So moving on to...
Team Taylor has a lot of shooters on it. I'll tell you that. I was contemplating Ben A. and
Ben A. I like that. All right,
Ben
so
A. Well, I have to say Ben Archibald.
We're doing ball handlers here. I think we're running over 27 minutes. So top 3 ball handlers. Did we do that one yet? No.
No, we haven't done ball handlers.
All right, so my number 3 and 2, I got Steven Mitchell. If we're going off of what you said earlier, where we're expecting these guys to come into the season, partially ready, and I've been in contact with Steven too. He's gonna work on his ball handling a lot, because back in his day, the guy was really good. He was like Iverson. So I think Steven Mitchell is my number 3. Dylan Mears is my number 2. I think Mears, with his space separation, ability to create space, is good. He's lefty, and he's really good with this Euro step. And like when he drives and gets into the paint, he like digs his shoulder in and like does a little jump fader, and I think that really works well in his favor. So Steven Mitchell, Dylan Mears, Newman.
Okay, so my number 3 is Matt Dukowitz. I explained to you that that combo of his ball handling to create that open shot is very lethal, and so I had to put him on my list if I was going to explain it like that for the shooting. My number 2 is actually also Dylan Mears. The times I've played with him, I've been juked out sometimes. It's hard for me. I mean, maybe it's just because I'm a big guy, and so I gotta be more. It's hard for me to keep up with him, but he has great handles. I remember one time he was stuck in the corner, and he was able to get it past the defender. Like the ball went to the right side, but he went to the left, and he got the floater lay in.
Well, the thing is, he's not a flashy ball handler at all. Like, he dribbles slow.
He's shifty. I think that's what it is. He's more shifty, I think. And so, I don't know how to describe it. People don't know the Buffalo Bills, but like he's kind of like a Devin Singletary. He's gonna bounce off of people, and he's not gonna. Yeah. He's gonna. I don't know. He's gonna make those moves where people are like, "What? I thought I had him in front of me."
Right. So my number 1. Oh shoot! I got it right here. I think I got me for number 1 ball handler. I just think Logan's in this category too, top 5. I'd say top 5 for Logan, because I know he'll throw a hissy fit if he's not on here. He'll probably think whatever. But I think I'm a pretty good ball handler. I'm able to drive with ease for the most part. I'm really creative when I'm trying to get a player open. I do a lot of the rondo behind the back. I do the Kyrie Irving spin, fake pass. I just think my ability to handle with both hands really well and finish with both hands really well benefit me and my team at a high level. And I think I'm working on doing the creating space thing with the ball handling, but I got Steve Mitchell, Mears, and myself for my list.
My number 1 was you. I think your vision and your ability to run the floor is, I don't know, you are the best facilitator in this league.
I think being able to run in transition is very important with being a ball. Logan's pretty good at that too, but yeah, transition, creating plays for your teammates and yourself, of course. So we'll move on to the dark horses. Mine is Duckwitz, Matt Duckwitz. I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head. He has this nice hesitation and fake. That's good when he's at the 3. He's pretty good with that. Caleb does that well too.
Okay, my dark horse ball handler is Josh Hill. I have heard from many sources that he has incredible skills and is very flashy, and so I think that would give him a lot of ticks for that award. The only problem is I just haven't seen him play yet, so I'd rather. A couple of my dark horses, like, I've heard this guy's good, but I really want to see more of him and make sure that this is not just.
Well, I guess that's
hearsay.
Kind of what the dark horse's description is. Like, a dark horse is somebody that, I don't know. It just feels right, the dark horse, not knowing his abilities exactly. So I think that finishes it off for the top 3 category. We finished it with 32 minutes. That's not bad. So we'll come up with our awards right now. We'll start off with our Captains of the Year. I think this one is pretty simple for the most part. I mean, it's just there's only 6 people you can choose from. So my Captains of the Year candidates consist of honorable mention Kalob Norris. We'll just run through. We'll just say them. Honorable mention Kalob Norris. I think he's going to have a lot of weight on his shoulders this year. He drafted a different way than which our mock drafts went. He went with more team chemistry role. He lacks size a little bit. So, look, Kalob Norris is going to have to do a lot of work as a captain this year if they're going to succeed during the regular season. Then mine is Logan Tobin. He's going to have to make plays for his team. He doesn't have a lot of playmakers on his team at all, actually. He is the only facilitator. He kind of went height route. I think if they're going to win, he's not only going to have to shoot the ball well, but he's going to have to get maybe a double-double almost every game with assists as well. Kreller, I think, he has some studs at the top of his lineup, and then he kind of went towards the chemistry as well. And he is gonna be able to draw up plays for himself and his team, and he's gonna be able to yell at his guys because he's friends with them, right? Logan, he's kind of a passive aggressive kind of guy. So, but Kreller, if he has to, he can yell at Matt, right? He can yell at Bob, he can yell at Mason, and then he has Hunter Tardy, who he's close friends with as well. They played varsity together. But Hunter, I mean, you're not gonna have to yell at him. He's gonna work hard every play. And then I got myself. I think I'm really vocal. I'm a great leader, and I've been doing a lot of research this summer on how to be a coach. Or this winter, excuse me. And I've been writing notes I got a book full of like 4 pages full of, you know, stuff that I want to implement in my team. It's not even plays or anything. It's just specific ways I want us to improve and play. I mean, and so I got Norris, Tobin, Kreller, and myself. And I'm not shutting down Dylan or Taylor. They're great guys and they're going to do well too, but these are just Coach of the Year candidates.
So just to be clear, who is your top candidate? I just want to understand.
Me, Kreller, Tobin, and then Norris.
Oh, so but you don't have a prediction on who you think the top candidate's going to be?
Yeah, I think it's me. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I just want to make that clear. Okay,
sure.
For the viewers. Okay. So I had for all of these awards, I had 2 honorable mentions, and then I have who I think will be the.
Okay. Yep.
Okay. So for my honorable mentions, I had you and Dylan Mears. And the reason is because both of you are coaching great teams who I think will not saying that that they don't need coaching, but that maybe that their teams can also handle it within themselves, and that it may not be as difficult as maybe advertised. But I'm not trying to take away from from your actual, from your intangibles as a coach or a leader, if you will.
Yep.
But so my top candidate is actually Ethan Kreller. And the reason is that I know you talked about the friends, but with his team, he really needs his team to be to play at a higher level. And I think he can get it out of those guys, because there are great shooters on this team, but they need to work cohesively. And although they're friends, he needs to really lift them up and make sure that they're understanding their roles. And I think he will exceed in that, and that's why I put him in number 1.
All right, so that means we're going to move on to our 5th man of the year candidates. I think this is going to be an interesting one. You got a lot of players that we haven't heard yet. So I'm doing 1, 2, and 3, and then an honorable mention like we did for the top 3. So my honorable mention, I got Tim Luno. He's a coach himself. He's one of our older players in the league, but he's very classy. Not classy, but he plays back. He's gonna hit the backboard on his shots. He's old school. He's old school. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. And then I got Josh Hill from Dylan's team. He's gonna be a good scorer and playmaker off the bench for Dylan. Ashton Chevalier, he is our player comparison for him was Joker, and we just found out Wednesday that we're gonna be without Cam Dunsmore in the playoffs. I know it's a regular season award, but the way I'm going to captain my team is I'm going to get a lot more rotations in now. I got to work different lineups without Cam, so Ashton Chevalier is going to be our 6-man / starter for most of this year. He's going to get good minutes. And so my number one candidate, this is what you're looking for, is James Lowe. I think he's going to have a big role in that team, Yates, because Lowe can kind of play big a little bit, and he can also dribble. He's a good playmaker. He's smart, and he can shoot. So Lowe's number 1. He's probably going to score the most off the bench for any of these teams. So, yeah.
Okay. So I was going to put James Lowe on this list. I was really contemplating it, but I thought that James might be a starter. So that's why he is not on this list. So for number 3, not for number 3. My 2 honorable mentions, I have Ben Archambault and Ashton Chevalier. And I think both of these guys are going to be really spark plugs. They're going to be guys that are going to make plays, make things happen both on offense and defense. And it's going to allow, someone like a Cam Dunsmore to be able to rest for a little bit. He may not be able to hold his own for the full game, but he's going to be able to make a small impact and allow that time for rest for some of the stars. So yeah, so that's the only reason I didn't put James Lowe. Also, was because of that. If you want me to do my top candidate, it is Mitchell for Team Tobin, for Team Logan Tobin. I think he is like the quintessential isn't Lou Williams like a perennial six man of the year in the NBA? Isn't that his thing?
Yeah, but I think scoring goes a long way, and no offense to Mitchell, but he's not your typical knockdown shooter. But go ahead, I'll let you finish.
Yes, I agree with that. But what I will say is that he can ignite a team. I think really in this league, the most important thing is to keep the momentum going. Basketball is always about who has the momentum, and he has a fire under him. He's kind of like a Montrezl Harrell, in my opinion.
Yep.
And he'll really keep that team, focused and intense. He is perfect coming off the bench when guys are getting tired and a little, sluggish. He'll be able to pick them back up and, be like, yeah, we're gonna, let's go kick some butt out there, yeah.
Right.
So that's who I have for my number one.
All right, cool. So we got Mitchell and James Lowe. So we got two final awards. These are probably the biggest awards, what people are really pushing for. We got Defensive Player of the Year and MVP. So Defensive Player of the Year, let's just break it down one and one. My dark horse, or my honorable mention, is Mitchell Boudreaux. Sorry, I butchered your name. And then Tristan Menard's my number 3. I think it's basically just as perimeter defenders. It's that same list for me. So Tristan Menard, we spoke about him, strong, athletic. His background is big influence on his candidacy. And, he's a good player, so you can't discredit that. Your honorable mentions, and then we'll do my 2 and 1.
Okay, so my honorable mentions was Tristan Menard, absolutely, and Case Ballard. Case Ballard was on there for me. Again, I'm not going to beat a dead horse, but it's because of his amazing size and his ability to influence how shooters go into the paint. I think this is going to be, how the NBA is more of it's a center award. Like if a center is going off getting 3 blocks a game, he's most likely going to get the award. Well, I think the SBL is going to shift towards a perimeter defender award. Like if you're going to lock down your number 1, you're most likely going to get this award for the most part. If you can hold your, go ahead. I see you're itching. Do you want to say it at the same time?
Let me give my number 2. So my number 2 is Kalob Norris. I mentioned it earlier. He can shut down a player if he wants to, but not in the same way that Cam Dunsmore can do it.
Oh, okay. Cam Dunsmore. Yeah, that's where we're going.
Yeah. So Cam Dunsmore, I think, is most likely going to run away with this award. But who knows? The voting committee might have a different opinion. They might see things different. But this is just to give them a good head start into what to look for this upcoming season. So, with that said, got Cam Dunsmore might run away with the Defensive Player of the Year. MVP, this is what everybody's been waiting for. Probably skipped ahead in the video to watch this. My dark horse, my honorable mention. Actually, this is more dark horse. My dark horse MVP is going to be Sean Humphrey. I think, because this is why. Taylor Yates is missing a week in July. He has to go on a trip, so he's missing 2 games of our 10-game season. So Sean Humphrey's gonna have to step up at that time. That's my dark horse. My number 3 is Hunter Tardy. The guy is so athletic. He's gonna gel amazing with Kreller. They're gonna work pick and roll, lobs, transition. They're gonna do good. And that's also why Ethan Kreller is my number 2, because he might score 20 a game. Like, I don't think it's realistic for a player to score more than 15 points a game in this league, because it's 20 minutes running clock. And if they do subs or whatever, I don't think it's realistic to score more than 15 points a game. but I think Kreller can do that, and that's why his MVP candidacy is so high. So go ahead, give your honorable mentions.
Okay, so for my honorable mentions, I had I actually had a dark horse for so I'll explain. Okay, so my dark horse is Kalob Norris. I think that Kalob is all around a great player. And so you're going to see his stat line is going to be filled. Like, it may not be too high in one category, but it's going to be impressive to look at. You know, it's going to be like 15 points, 7 assists, 7 rebounds, 2 blocks, 3 steals, something along the lines of that. And so it's going to be hard. You know, maybe if he can increase that points per game, he might have a chance because of the rest of the stat line that should definitely go with it.
And if they're winning, if he's doing that, putting up those numbers and winning, I think he might be able to take this award.
Yeah, that's true. It really depends on how the overall team does. It kind of works that way too in the NBA.
Yeah,
I always see where, like, you know, I'll give you a hint. I'm a Wizards fan, and so, like, Bradley Beals, he's putting up ridiculous numbers, but I don't hear him getting any MVP votes. So but that's because the team's not doing great, right? So it really depends on how well they're doing in there. But a couple of other honorable mentions I had was actually you. I had you, and I think really your playmaking will make a huge difference in how the team functions as a whole. And like we were talking about with teams winning games, making those great passes to get easy layups is going to be huge in those late game situations. And so I should see that assists. That should be way up, man. I'm going to be seeing double doubles from you. I already feel it.
I hope.
And then my final honorable mention, and he was my number 2, is Gabe Unwin. And so Gabe, he's got great size. We've already gone over this, but I think he can score in any facet on offense. The 3, the mid-range, and short in the post. He can work it any way he wants, in my opinion. So if he's got that kind of offensive capability, he should be high on my MVP list.
Do a quick ad break before we do our number ones. Check out the scroll right below. You can see it moving on my screen. It's given our link to our website. There's some updates. It says Basketball Swan Rec at 1 on Sunday. It has some postponements. You know, it has some links, and my Twitter handle's on there too. But our number one,
my name's there.
It is too. That's not Newman, for some reason, does not have an Instagram or Twitter, so don't actually at that. That's actually his Facebook at. So if you want to check out Newman's Facebook, that's that. He has some cool stuff there, but mine is my Twitter. So our number one, I have Logan Tobin for my number one. I think I've been thinking about it more and more, and if they're going to succeed, Logan's, and I mentioned it earlier, I think, and I forget, Captain of the Year. He has to put up some incredible numbers in all 3 categories, and he has to shoot efficient too, because he likes to shoot. He's taken maybe 20 shots a game, and that's a lot. But if he can shoot efficiently, I think that's good. But he has to get his players involved. He has to get his players to communicate, and he has to not get mad if they mess up. I think there's some times where he can, get in his own head sometimes and just try to take over a game or whatever. And he can do that, but sometimes it backfires. And when he's losing, it's a whole different ballgame.
Okay, my number one MVP. This should not be a surprise to people because he was on my big board. He was on Newman's big board. My number one is Tristan Menard. I think he is just. Sorry, I need to pause for a second because this man, he is going to be a stat sheet stuffer. This man is going to rule the SBL, in my opinion. His athleticism, he will I know we talked about Candace Dunsmore being the defensive player of the year, but he might be the one that overpowers Cam Dunsmore. His quickness is I keep rephrasing, but
he's Superman
so
for you. He's your Superman.
He's Superman. Yes, he is absolutely Superman.
He has lasers coming out of his eyes at the end of each possession.
Yeah, he has X-ray vision. He doesn't even have to look. He can just flip it up behind him and it'll go in, right? So, but setting all that aside, really unbelievable score, and he's easily putting up 20 a game, in my opinion. Easy. And because of that, he's definitely going to be MVP. And I also think this is also kind of off the side. I think his team is going to be doing really well this year. So I think that will also play into effect of why he gets MVP as well. Yeah.
I mean, this will be a cool first season because, Russell Westbrook won MVP because he put up a triple-double number, right? There was Curry because he broke the three-point record or whatever. He made so many threes that season. Even though LeBron is clearly the best player, and because his team is usually the number one seed, there's some controversy about, whether breaking a league record is more important or actual individual. Curry deserved that award. Russell deserved that award. But that's what I'm just trying to say. This first year, there's no records to be broken. So it's based off of team record and personal play. So you could actually probably go, oh, he's leading the league in points per game. He's probably really dominant. He's probably, maybe a consensus number one MVP. But whatever. So that finishes it up. We had some fun, had a couple laughs.
Oh my God, it was great.
Yeah, we were able to go over everything, and we did it in under an hour. For some reason, I thought this would be under 30 minutes, but hopefully you guys have watched this long.
Yeah, but we need that debate, you know what I mean? We need that.
It was. I wasn't expecting
conversation.
I wasn't expecting this, but it was really fun. I really like this. Hopefully we can do more during the season, but thanks for tuning in for this far, hopefully, and me and Newman will try to put out some more content in a later date.
Okay, yeah, totally.
All right, man. See ya.
Okay, we'll see you later. And for the viewers out there, have a great rest of your day. And remember, check out SBL, the link under Landon for the.
Yeah, it'll be in the description for sure.
Okay, in the description. Check for the link in the description.
All right.